once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
Okay, party people, look at us. More specifically, look at you, Sean, all bundled up because you are in new territory. And we already have Umberto ready to roll. So Umberto and Mark Rizzo. I don't recall Mark Rizzo ever being here right at the beginning, right at the mark, right at the start. Mark, I just used kind of a pun. Mark is right here at the mark, the beginning mark. And Nightbot with his little, I'm curious what that little, oh, that's a sword. Yes. It almost looks like a syringe.
Yes.
Sorry, Nightbot. Hello, Darren. Hello, Nightbot. I misinterpreted your little icon. I thought it was a kind of looked like a syringe or something, but it looks like it's a sword. Hello to me. Yeah. So Sean, what's with the garb, the added layers? I mean, that's a rhetorical question from me, but not for our audience.
Well, as I mentioned,
sorry, wait. Do you want me to go through the normal deal, like explain to our audience?
Of course, because there could be new people on here, and they're not going to know what the heck is happening.
Okay, party people, let's get into this. Here we have on your screen is Shine Like a Pro AZ, which is Sean's channel on YouTube. So think of Sean's channel like this. He takes my long form content and he slices and dices and puts it through his magic machine and comes up with short form content. You can think of this like the Cliff Note version of my long form videos. So that's his channel right here, and he is streaming on that channel. And then there's me and my channel, Auto Fetish Detail. Most of the videos are what's considered long form, where I go into great length, great detail, so that you, as the viewer, do not walk away and attempt to do what you came looking in search of to do, and then find out like, oh, wow, why didn't Darren tell me about this part? So I like to cover all the nuances and the details of any given job. Perfect. So there you have it. Now, with that said, Sean, back to my rhetorical question, if you might want to care to expand as to why you're all bundled up.
That's because I moved to Iowa, and it's freezing.
Yes, you did.
It's freaking cold out here.
And I just asked you what the temp was. What'd you say, 29?
23 degrees, but it was much warmer from 2 days ago. It was negative 29. So,
oh my word!
So that
ask me how warm it was here in SoCal today.
I think you told me it was 77 or something like that.
I did. I just wanted you to play along for our
Yeah.
audience.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, actually, it was 80. I think it got up to 84 because I'm trying to think. When I went to the gym, I remember looking at my temp gauge, and I believe it said 84, but it was just nice AF. How about that?
Yep. I'm sure it
I'll
was.
take it. So, and I went to the pool and did my laps to, well, rehab my whole body in the cold plunge, the cold AF pool, which is kind of relative, meaning they don't heat our pool in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And so it's probably, I don't know, I would guess it's probably 55, maybe 51 degrees, which
There's one
is pretty cold.
Mark from Florida.
Yeah, Southwest. Really 61 degrees, Mark. I would somehow, although that's 3 hours ahead.
From you. From me is 1 hour.
Yeah. So, for example, I'm just going to look at my weather app because it definitely still cools down here. And see, my weather app is saying it's 67 degrees here, and it's supposed to dip down to 47, which I personally am a little skeptical of that it's going to get down to 47 tonight. But what do I know?
You got a question right here, Darren.
What do you do in gym other than swimming? Well, just to clarify, I live in a gated community. We have a community pool. So I swim at our community pool here where I live, and they go to the gym. Can you cure or curl? That's funny. I'm going to guess, Nightbot, you're probably under the age of 30. Can I curl 100 pounds? Probably. I have no idea. Because really right now I'm pretty happy with my body and how strong I am. And so it's really about me maintaining elevation. I don't want to go down. I don't necessarily want to go up. So I just like to be where I'm at. So I work out hard, but I'm not trying to break any personal records. And curls is not really something like, if you were to ask me pull ups or bench press or incline dumbbell press, I could tell you, some PRs of mine. But everything else, I mean, I work out my biceps hard, but not like the rest of my body.
Basically, when you get older, your body can't really take what it used to when you're younger. So,
Definitely not. Definitely
yes,
not.
yeah.
But with that said, I mean, I do look around, and I'd have to say that I'm keeping up pretty good based on these young bucks that, I think a big part of the problem is they just don't know how to, they don't know what hard work is. And I mean, in life in general. So they come to the gym and it translates into the gym where they are basically, at least all indicators suggest, they're putting about 40% effort into their workout. And in my opinion, 40% is not enough to get real results. You're going to get some results, but not like the results they want. I think that's one of the big ignorant, pervasive understandings of people is they just do not realize how much work and how long it's going to take to get a change. So it's one thing to make a change physically in your body with strength and visual appearance. It's another thing to actually transform it. So I look around at the gym and most people are, I would say, pushing like 40% intensity or potential. Mark, I just found out yesterday from the orthopedic surgeon that I've got hip replacement. Oh my gosh, hip. Like, first off, I didn't even know they did hips until just recently. And now I can't remember who it is that has a hip replacement. It's probably someone at the gym. Because at my gym, it's 24-hour fitness. It's a big diversity in demographics. And I talk to a lot of people, young, middle-aged, old, and I know it's an older guy. And Mark, I don't know if we know your age. We probably discussed this before. I don't know if specifically we know your age, but hip replay. I mean, that's damn. And I know a crap load of people that have had knee replacement surgery. That is pervasive. I know a lot of people that, but hips, And that really seems, I wonder what, maybe you could tell us, Mark, what is the rehab compared to knee replacement, which is pretty extensive, but probably not, if you understood the surgery and how they do it, it's pretty dramatic. So you would think that rehab would just be really so long and incredibly difficult. I think if I recall, this guy, and now I want to say it's a guy, he was telling me that hip replacement, it's like the worst.
It's supposed to be really.
No,
It's supposed to be really painful.
yeah, well, I know they're all painful. I'm just trying to remember because there's another guy at the gym I just met, and he had his shoulder replaced, which I didn't know you could do that. So maybe I'm commingling the two because he was into it over a year, and he's barely able to do stuff, even though he was all excited what he could do. I'm looking at him, then we start talking, and he was telling me about it, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm into it a year," and I said, "Really, a year?" And that's like he could barely get his arm past this. I'm going, "Oh my gosh!" But he was excited about it, so maybe I'm commingling that.
Well, I know that in Russia they had a head transplant.
Head
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I'll pull it up in a second. But while I pull it up, make sure you start answering these
I'm gonna,
questions.
all right, but if you have, I remain a little skeptical on a head. You do realize that includes your brain, right?
Yep.
And your brain is connected to your spinal cord. I mean, I don't. I'm a little skeptical
Yep.
ahead.
Yep.
Anyhow,
Okay.
so Umberto, you curl 80, but I have both shoulders with surgery since got them out of the sockets and fractured them years ago. Umberto, your life story just becomes more and more complex, more and more faceted. Like it's like a diamond. There's almost countless facets to a diamond, and it seems that you keep throwing more and more at us. Where it's like, oh my gosh, dude! Like, and I know you're older like us, but I don't remember your exact age. Yes, indeed, you don't go to the gym for selfies and social gatherings, BS. I definitely do not, meaning I'm willing to engage with people, and I do engage with a lot of people, but they've got to play along with my rules. And what I mean by that is I'm going to maintain my flow of working out because I get a lot of people that will come up and ask questions. They don't necessarily come up and ask questions. Occasionally they do, but it's if I'm working in with them, they'll take note of my physical condition and then they'll start asking questions. So I don't mind engaging with people and educating them so long as I can maintain my flow because I love the gym, but I also love my life outside of the gym. So I don't need to spend hours in there because I got nothing better to do in life. Hip replacement, dang, that is a toll indeed. Oh yeah, 57. Curl 80-pound dumbbell or straight bar. Yeah, yeah, Umberto, are we talking a straight bar where you're curling 80 pounds with two arms, or we're talking about a dumbbell?
That's not Umberto. That's Nightbot. Who just said that?
Well, I thought first from, oh, I'm
Oh, okay.
sorry.
So
Yeah,
Nightbot.
you're right. Nightbot did say it. But what I was saying is that Umberto said that he curls 80 pounds.
Oh, okay, okay. You're right.
But
You're
we
right.
want to know, is that a 80-pound dumbbell, as in you're doing with one arm, or is that 80-pound barbell where you're doing with two arms? That's a big difference. So this would be a barbell, and this would be a dumbbell. Be careful, there's squats and leg presses. Oh, are you implying that that's why you have to get it? I tore my labrum a year ago, and now it's bone on bone. I'd have to look that up. I mean, I know oh, what's the word? Anatomy pretty well, but I don't recognize that word, Mark. Labrum. So bone on bone. Dang, man, that's brutal. I would not like to do that. I ripped my bicep. So for those that know anatomy, there's two muscles to your bicep. And I tore the what's called the distal, which is outer muscle away from my forearm. It actually connects to your forearm, which is how it's able to, like, I don't know, for people that don't know how the body works, your muscles contract. When they contract, they become smaller and tighter, and that's what causes this part of the arm to move towards this part of the body because your bicep is contracting. anyhow, so I tore that away from my forearm and had to, this was cut completely open. And then there's an incision here. So they pulled the tendon through the bone, drilled through the bone, and attached it on the backside. And that was about like 6-7 years ago. And
There you go.
that was
There
no
you go,
fun.
Darren. There's an image.
So labrum. So, oh wow, man, that's brutal. I wonder, Mark, if that's, and once again, because we don't know your age, and if we do, I don't remember what it is. I wonder if that's there's a medical term for it, which basically is just a glorified term for getting old and age and things aging like normal. So I'm wondering if it's mostly that, or if it's literally you injured it because of your workout routine with squats and leg presses, I think you said.
Yeah, Umberto is right. It will take some pain. It will take some time to get the pain down, like Umberto just said right now.
Yeah.
I'll just go to the next one because we got tons of comments.
I can curl 40 pounds in a straight bar curl. I'm a nerd. Well, dude, you got to start somewhere, right? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily label someone a nerd just because they couldn't do a lot of weight. So how about that? Straight bar, so you do 150. Like, honestly, I do not remember the last time I even measured how much I'm curling, because that's one of the good things of being my age and I'm happy with my body is maintenance is much easier than trying to transform your body or make changes in your body. So, and honestly, at this age, like, and I wouldn't just say at this age, I'd say for the past 20 years, it's this vicious cycle where you build up, you build up, you build up in all kinds of ways, your strength, your PRs, and then you get injured. And then you're like thrown back, smack down, back wherever. It could be way low, but you're smacked down because some injury. And now you spend months and months and months trying to get back up. And then you get kicked back down with an injury or a surgery, or you get sick or something. And then you try to work back up. So my latest episodes was I got sick about a month ago, and that sucked the life out of me. And then I've got like 3 injuries on this left shoulder I've been working through for over a year. And then I got COVID in the end of 2023, and that pretty much destroyed me for a year. So it's just this vicious cycle, and it's very frustrating. Like right now I'm based on this past cold I got and this injuries. I had to dial down my chest routine. And now I'm slowly working back up, and it feels pretty good. When you're on the incline, it feels pretty good when you're able to, like, from 1 week, it's like, okay, I was able to graduate up to the 80-pound dumbbell press. And then this past week, I went up to the 85s, and I'm thinking next week I can start doing the 90s again, and then the 95s, and then the hundreds was where I was at, I don't know, probably 2 years ago. Whatever. I'm not really complaining. It's just kind of aggravating. Yes, Umberto, you also have a very good memory. So 57 and 59. Rico is the Hulk. Did Rico tell us how much? Is that because he's the one that did 150, or was that Umberto?
I don't know. There's so many comments. I'm trying to get through them.
Yeah, if you see me, I look skinny. Well, that's okay. I would suspect it's better than if we see you and you look fat. I'm just a nerd peasant. You're just a nerd plebeian. Did you see CSI Man is making Jimbo a new polish that works good for mobile detailing? I can't wait to try it. I've heard from Sean. Sean, were you the one that told me? You probably were, that Jimbo's making videos with Tom.
You told me. You told me he
I
did a live
told
stream.
you?
Yep, you told me he did a live stream. So you asked me if I watched the video, and I said no.
Oh, that's right. I know who
Yeah.
told me, because I know I still haven't seen one. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even care to see one. And if those two make it together, more power to them. And I'll keep it at that. It was Richard Seam in New York that told me about it. It's
There
like,
you go.
OMG. Yeah, torn bicep. Dang, that must have been like a whiplash. Yeah, actually, in a second, it happened that quickly. And the pain was so intense. I was actually bodyboarding at the beach. And ironically, it was the last wave of the day. And I didn't want to get out because the waves were just so good. And so I had my arm on the front of the nose, and I thought, it's the last wave. I'm just going to ride this all the way to the shore. And I was about 15 feet from the shore, and my arm slipped, or my hand slipped off of the nose, and my elbow did that. And I hear this disturbing noise, and I felt this intense pain. And I had a part, or a spring suit on. Actually, it must have been a full suit because it had long sleeves. So I would have had a full wetsuit on because the water was pretty cold, and I'm kind of a pussy when it comes to the cold. And I had a feeling I knew what happened. And then when I got to shore, I had my wife help me peel it off, and I looked down at my arm, and suddenly my biceps like 2 inches shorter. That was disturbing. Okay, 45. So you're getting up there a little bit, Mark, but
He's the
hip
same.
replace
He's the
what?
same age. He's the same age as me.
Yeah. But dang, hip replacement, that's brutal. Can I have your pain meds? Nope, I went through all my pain meds. Thank you very much. I don't do many repetitions. I just do it to be able to do it. I see. It sounds like you want to just kind of maintain elevation yourself, Umberto. Yes, I watched that video too. I'm not sure exactly what video he just
He's
referenced.
talking about Tom and Jimbo.
Oh, okay.
Also, I want to take a moment really quick, make sure to tell the audience that if you guys have any questions at all, whether it's auto detailing or anything else, don't be shy, ask away, and that's it. So
yeah. Yep, that's it. So, did you populate all the questions,
that's it.
Sean?
I was just zooming through them. Yep.
Okay.
Want to catch up just in case more questions come in. We don't fall so far behind where you lose track of what's going on.
Yeah. So now we know Mark is 45, even if he already told us previously. I don't work in on someone else's seats, and I don't allow anybody to work in on what I'm doing. I wipe the equipment down when I start, and I wipe it down when I'm done. Nobody's cutting in. Oh, detail DIY. Well, aren't you the the equipment hog? I mean, I get it. You do what works for you. I personally am not a fan of that. You know why? Because there's limited resources in the gym, and I don't want to stand around and lose my flow and lose my pump. So, especially at 24-hour fitness, where it's just they oversell the memberships. And so you've got to be pretty assertive and aggressive if you want to maintain your flow, because it's really frustrating when you've got your muscles are engorged with blood, and that's the way they should be because that's how they're going to operate. And now you're waiting for some knucklehead to finish. So it all goes down to this whole gym etiquette thing. And it's a sore subject for me because, the demographics, once again, are so vast at the gym. And a lot of people just don't have a clue. And they really have no self-awareness and no consideration for other people. And because I am the very assertive type, I'm there on a mission. And so I will ask every person, like, hey, how many sets you got left? Hey, can I work in? So based on their answer will determine my follow-up question. Hey, how many got left? Oh, 3. Well, can I work in? Anyhow. What caused that hip to be like that? Did you have an accident? Yeah, Mark. I mean, he suggested that it had to do with working out his legs and to watch it, but maybe that's why I was curious if this is part of just aging more, or did he literally do something very acute and specific?
It's probably a combination of both.
Yeah, I tore my hip labrum at the gym and walked on it for over a year. Oh, dude, that must have been painful. So, and I guess it got bad enough where you thought, okay, or maybe just prolonged enough where it's like, maybe I should finally get this checked out after a year. I'm sure there's a story there.
Got a new
DJ
person.
Sassafras.
Yeah.
Is sassafras? I think that's a plant. That's not really a word you hear uh, pretty much anytime. I'm in Indiana and would love to start ceramic coating farm equipment. Hey, that's a good idea. Any advice how to find contract farmers? I got a story about that, DJ. So one of the guys I was mentoring, he lived in the Midwest and he was detailing, but then he realized, and I don't remember the exact specifics of his story, but he found out there's all this farm equipment out there. And I think twice a year, it might be at the beginning of the season or the end. I don't remember. But the point is he started detailing this farm equipment and not necessarily detailing it like you would a car, but power washing it and cleaning it. And he was making great money doing it. And this was well before ceramic coatings were even a thing. But that would be cool.
There you go, Darren, on the screen.
AG tractor kit. Is that because you just did a search? Because he didn't say anything. Yeah, okay.
I just did a search.
Yeah.
And
honestly, you could do, meaning the farm equipment is probably going to be painted, for lack of a better word, differently than cars. They probably whatever that powder coating type of process is, which they also do on cars also. It doesn't matter. It's going to work.
Yep, it's on the screen again. Here's another company does it.
Yeah, I would say it's a good idea. Well, tell you what, DJ, in simple terms, what I would do if you've done a deep dive on AI technology, I would go to your favorite platform and literally ask that question. I would structure the question a little more in depth, and you can get all kinds of output from AI as far as a marketing strategy. I mean, in simple terms, pretend, let's just say you know nothing about AI and you're just out there in the flat areas of Indiana. I would literally just do a face-to-face approach with people. I'm a big fan of face-to-face communication because you can build rapport, you can start building trust and displaying competence by having these one-on-one conversations with people. So in simple terms, that's what I would do. And then also, I suspect that there's probably conventions or shows where all these farmers need to go and find out their next best equipment that they're going to have to buy or whatever. I would go to places like that and just work the crowd. I'm a big fan of face-to-face, old school stuff. It will always work, and it still works. The problem is most guys are not willing to do it, so they're looking for shortcuts. Like, oh, maybe I can just get a email list and send out this really cool email, and think people are going to be interested. Or maybe I can just, I don't know. Also, I would do social media, and I would target that. Figure out what the keywords are for that industry. What are they looking up? Now, granted, that industry is probably not filled by a bunch of guys that are on typical social media, but don't underestimate that. There will be some people that will be on it, and so you could target that.
I also have an idea. Another thing you could do too is you can go to your local chamber of commerce, and they also have a chamber of commerce for farmers. So you can go, yeah, because I'm in Iowa. I know I learned about that. So
yeah,
you can go to, or they have like club memberships for farmers. You can go to one of those and ask you to speak about it, and I'm sure some people would love to hear it and hear about the pros and cons and the benefits of it. And then you should be able to get some people who are interested in it.
Yeah. So good luck with that. I think there's definitely a market for it. Absolutely. I mean, because you think about farm equipment, I mean, those things are so pricey, serious money for that stuff. And I suspect most farmers, really want to retain their capital investments. Nightbot, Darren, I would have to strongly, firmly agree. If only I could remember what it was I said that you want to strongly, firmly agree with.
It's okay.
Exactly. Oh, shat, this is getting worse. Yeah. Yeah, it's about time I consult with a quote unquote expert called an orthopedic surgeon to find out why am I not healing? It's been a year It's either getting worse or it's not getting any better. What the F is going on? Jimbo Slice, welcome back. Evening, folks. Going to do a paint correction this spring. Do you have a decontamination soap or wash you prefer to get the gunk off? It depends on where you're at, Jimbo, because that will depend on what you mean by decontaminating. I mean, the simple answer would be a product like Iron X, a typical decontaminating chemical that chemically reacts to the ferrous particles of the fallout that's on the paint. But you might live in an area where you get a crap load of snow and they put some kind of weird stuff on the roads and it just makes a colossal mess of cars. So it kind of depends on where you're living and what exactly you're dealing with in preparation to do some paint correction. I know how to coat and how to find product. I'm asking if you have advice on how to find contact farmers.
We just talked about that. So
Yeah, I mean, I hope we answered that question for you, DJ.
he does say thank you. So
Okay,
I still want you to read the comments. So
I say, wow, at Mark Rizzo. Sorry that happened to you and hope you have a fast recovery. Yeah, we all do, man, because that's brutal. Man, being down with an injury or being sick and not being able to go to the gym, that my mental and emotional state cannot I do not do well with that. I need that resistance training. I need that outlet with the gym. Brilliant. Thank you. All right, cool. Sounds like that maybe we offered a little bit of help there. Thanks first from Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Rico. I was doing, hey, Humberto. I was just watching some videos last night about El Salvador because I'm totally into Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, and El Salvador wants to build. I think they're calling it like the $1 billion Bitcoin city. And I know there's a few presidents. Like who's the guy that's I'm gonna forget his name. Oh, it's South America. Anyhow, but I was watching a video on El Salvador because their two currencies that they fully embrace is the American dollar and Bitcoin. Now, admittedly, it does not look as appealing as some of the Southeast Asian countries I've been looking at, but every country's got its pros and cons, right? So Puerto Rico is one of them, and apparently it seems the consensus is that a big part of Puerto Rico is so Americanized because of so many expats and transplants from other countries. Anyhow, I'm curious.
we have a lot of comments to go through.
Okay. Did you just promote AI? Yeah, I did. I'm a huge fan of AI, man. And by the way, just to clarify, I think I'm simultaneously disturbed by AI in a frightening way, as well as just completely intrigued and fascinated by it. Sean, that should be big where you are now. I'm suspecting he's talking about the tractor equipment.
Yeah, and he was making those comments as you and I were talking.
Okay.
So we already covered that.
Yes, Chamber of Commerce in the city and small business meetings. Yep, some ways to network.
Yep.
They're all single stage paint, so they oxidize and fade in a season or two. Oh, interesting. Yeah, single stage paint. That's such a different animal, and and I'm not going to lie, it's harder work than clear coat, in my opinion. I feel like it's harder to get a uniform appearance on single stage paint. Northeast, very salty. Ugh, that's horrid. And I have no real solution or magic trick up my sleeve for that because I don't have to deal with that at all. What do you refer to gunk off? Yeah, exactly. Like when you say gunk off, Jimbo Slice, what exactly does that mean? And he kind of just suggested that they put a bunch of salt on the roads and you mix salt with dirt and snow and everything else that accumulates on the roads. And that's just a recipe for Well, Gunk, Connecticut. That sounds. Hey, what are the temperatures in Connecticut, by the way? Like, how cold does it get in Connecticut? Do you think it gets colder than Connecticut, Sean, than where you're at in Iowa?
I don't know.
It is further north.
I assume it's similar. I don't know.
I assume it's at least similar, if not worse, because it's further north than where you're at.
Yeah.
Gunk is in a mineral, gunk is in sap, gunk is in tar, gunk is in iron. Yeah. Yeah. And this is where you guys are limited because you have questions and you're forced to have to type it out, which sucks. You can't just verbally express it to us. And so you want to abbreviate everything and not be overly descriptive, which makes it very hard to answer a question that's been watered down and is too general in nature. Salt, dirty everything from winter. It's been so cold I haven't been able to clean in months. Oh, dude, that sucks.
Yeah. Same here. So this is something I want to share because obviously I've been living in Iowa and experiencing the cold.
Yeah.
So you can't wash your car here because I mean you
Freezes.
can. Yeah. So I was talking to someone here who just washed her car, and I'm like, "How do you wash your car when it's negative?" And he's like, "Well, you can, but you have to dry it ridiculously quickly because if you don't, if any water is left, it's frozen, and it says door froze, so you couldn't open it."
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah.
gives me AIDS thinking about
Mhm.
that. I would go crazy.
Yeah.
El Salvador does Bitcoin since their president came in. Yes, and I'm commingling different. There's like 3 countries I've been watching that are Bitcoin friendly. I think El Salvador. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of. The president. He's a dude. He's actually a Jewish. He's a combo Jew and what did they say? Basically Latino and Jewish, but he's all for the Bitcoin, and he's the one that wanted to build this Bitcoin city. So maybe it is the president of El Salvador. I wish I could remember his name. Dang it!
I can look him up, but here's a Darren.
Yeah,
Here's something you can answer that he doesn't know. So
right. So already part owner of CSI. Watch Jimbo Tom videos. They are awesome. Should be beneficial to you. Also, since you have skin in the game. Yeah, I used to have skin in the game, and not any longer. Because Tom and I, or I should say, I realized Tom and I were not on the same page. So I exited, and that was probably, it's probably been 3 years now. So that's why I say, is Jimbo and Tom pairing up?
probably.
More power to you guys. Puerto Rico is a Commonwealth of the USA since the Hispano-American War. We are the U.S. territory since 1990s. All born as used. Yeah. Yep, I get it. I mean, that's one of the benefits of Puerto Rico. It's about 20 to 25 cold. Well, I guess it's on par with where you're at, Sean.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's what it is, the temperature where he's referring to. It's that's the temp currently, or that's kind of the low or the
High and low.
high. Well, not really the high and low, but just kind of the cold average for winter is around 20 to 25.
Well, I think it means today. So that temperature is exactly like here.
Yeah.
So here's I'm gonna you can read this and I'll answer this question.
You guys should move if you are in cold weather climate. Life is infinitely better in the warmth. Yeah. I mean, I could say a lot about that, Mark, and I completely agree. But then I suspect that anyone listening to that's having to endure the cold, they would say something like, "Oh yeah, easy for you to say. There's a reason I'm enduring the cold, and it's not because I love the cold. It's because I got no options, or I'm extremely limited on my options. Because honestly, I play this game with a lot of things. I think about the settlers that first came to America, and they're in New York, and let's say they experience the first winter, and they're like, holy F, what are we doing here? This sucks. Like, guys, we need to keep moving on, man. But someone around them obviously said, no, we're good. Let's just endure it. Maybe this is a bad winter. Maybe it'll be better next year. And I'd be like, okay, I'm piecing out because I'm going to keep going until I find some better weather. So I'm just perplexed that so many people are willing to put up with and endure the harsh winter climate that so much of the U.S. has to deal with. Never mind when you go up into Canada. I mean, my word. And then you go up over to Europe. I mean, most European countries have pretty bad winters. And then you go to Russia, and then you go to Mongolia, and then you go to, oh, who's above Russia? Oh my gosh, my brain right now.
Well, in
Russia,
any case,
Mongolia.
what I was going to say is that every place has their pros and cons of living.
Yes,
So obviously,
Siberia.
yeah, it might be
Yeah,
colder here, but it is definitely way cheaper than the West Coast. West Coast is or the East Coast. Well, no, yeah,
yeah. There's the
like
trade-off.
yeah, there's trade offs for everything. Um, but yeah, that's I was going to share with the remember then we're going to talk about it for a few minutes how I came to Iowa for a job and and the job was not what I was told it was going to be. And after 3 days, I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, and but that is a gross
oh."
simplification, Sean.
I was like,
Because
before we keep going, it's top
what's
star.
up, guys? Top Star in the house, bringing down the house. Welcome back, Top Star Auto Detailing. Happy to have you here. Yeah, that's a
Um,
massive simplification, Sean,
yeah,
because it's not like you just decide, oh, I'm going to move to Iowa. Like you uprooted your world
yeah,
and drove for what, 3 days through the cold AF climate.
yeah,
I mean, that was a massive undertaking. And then you work 3 days and they're like, oh, sorry, it's not going to work out. Even
right,
though you went through all this due diligence where you went out there, you met with them, you
yep,
went on a location with them. Obviously, they liked you because they wanted you. And it's like,
right,
okay, what the F happened here, people? I want to recount.
yeah.
That's
So
messed up.
it is pretty messed up, but I got lucky. I have the recruiter who hired me or who brought me in is helping me. It's going to try to help me get something else in the area just in case. But yeah, for anybody who's moving across the United States, don't be careful because the companies are shady. I was like, I got one from Top Star here.
Yeah, I was reading up there ahead on that. Sean, you mentioned this before where they're going to eliminate daylight savings time, but were you
Yeah,
specific towards California or just we're
no,
talking a nationwide?
nationwide. So Trump said that he's going to work towards removing daylight savings for the whole country.
And coincidentally, I was literally thinking about that this morning that, like, okay, because that happens in March, I believe. And I'm going, oh, I remember Sean saying something, but I haven't heard anything on the news
Well,
because,
the news is not very good about reporting what the president says.
well, I was
So
just going to say, just
no,
to make a distinction, I don't listen to mainstream news. When I
no,
say
neither do I.
news, I mean on YouTube. I
Yeah,
have very specific channels I turn into for politics. But
yeah,
honestly, Trump is a madman. That guy is going gangbusters and just one thing after another. Like the media can't even keep up.
I think it's
Which
awesome. I'm excited.
I think it's just unbelievable. It's like my wet dream.
Yeah,
So the point is I'm not surprised. Like for example, the whole hostages with Hamas. Like
yeah,
Trump made an ultimatum on that, and it was on a Saturday, and then come Monday, which I think was just this past week, like unless YouTube is the algorithm is kind of effing with it, but I heard nothing about that. I had to go searching to see what the update was. Point I'm getting at is that I'm not surprised I haven't heard anything about the daylight savings time because that hardly takes precedent over these other bigger topics. But dude, that'd be so awesome if they don't do that stupid daylight savings
oh,
time garbage.
it's really dumb. So
Yeah.
it's outdated.
Bukele, that's it. That's the dude's name, his last name. His dad was Christian and turned to Islam, and his dad's family were Palestinian Christians, and his mom Catholic, and from his mom, grandfather Greek Orthodox. And yes, Bukele. I mean, I have not done a deep dive on him, but all so far what I've heard, I'm a fan, and he's going to save that country. Top Star Auto Detailing. Umberto saying hi. So cool. Naib. I don't remember his first name, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Naib Bukele. And then there's in fact, I don't know if any of you, I don't know who in our audience does a deep dive on this. So I've been following a guy, Dr. Jack Cruz. He's also a Bitcoin maximalist. He's a neurosurgeon, and he lives in El Salvador, which is part of why I started looking it up, Umberto, because this guy is all about health, and he's very unorthodox. And I'm thinking there's got to be a reason he chose El Salvador to live, because when you read his or listen to his content, he's pretty out there, and so far it's all making sense to me, anyways. But he's talked about some of these countries, and he met with a lady, a woman who is, and in South America, and maybe it's country by country, as to do they have a president? Do they have a prime minister? Like, what do they call their head of state? Like here in US, obviously we call it a president. But for example, in UK, it's a prime minister, Canada, prime minister. Point is that there's someone, a lady, and it's a tiny, tiny country in South America, and she wants to do nothing but Bitcoin. And it's like, yes, yes, I love it. Big fan. Here's summertime all year long, but then we have hurricanes, not yearly, but whenever they want to be. Yeah, that's part of the trade-off is you just, I mean, we're talking about Mother Nature, right? It's not necessarily predictable.
You know,
What's
you
up?
know. Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to read Top Star Auto Detailing. What's up first? PR, metal, yellow, first, red. What's up?
I actually have a good question, Darren.
Yeah, go for
So
it.
I remember there's a video you did a while back ago about removing like hard water deposits from cars from
Yeah.
like sprinklers. And I remember you used to use was it the acid remover for McGuire's?
It's officially labeled wheel brightener. In fact, if you look it
Yeah,
up, Sean, because I
yeah,
was just redoing one of my pages
yeah.
on car wheel cleaners. That's the keyword, and it's not available anymore, at least on Amazon. It's called wheel brightener by McGuire's. So you're gonna have to get specific. You're gonna have to put in McGuire's because they also have a, and that's their acid base, and they also have a non-acid base. So, for example,
There's a known acid one right there. But
yeah,
you used to use the acid one, right?
yes, and and the official name it is called wheel brightener. But when I found it, and probably the only reason I was able to find it is because I had an old link that I had to
Mhm.
update on my website, and when I clicked on it, it went to the page, but it also says currently unavailable. And I'm not surprised; they probably had too many people doing stuff like I do and getting into trouble. I never got into trouble with it, as in doing or damaging anything. But yeah,
Yeah,
I totally went off label with it, using it on car paint, on
right,
chrome, on plastic, whatever. You don't want to use it on glass because it will
right.
etch the glass, but it because this is where if you understand chemistry, it's helpful because it's an acid, and those calcium buildups, all those minerals in water,
Mm.
it leaves, that's what hard water spots are. It's like why you get a ring in your toilet bowl. That's hard water deposits. And so you
It,
need an acid to break it down.
it's Do you have any suggestions for alternative method or alternative chemical for that? Because I know that Top Star right here,
Well,
he,
yeah,
he
called
made a video about
vinegar.
that. Vinegar? Okay.
It's just that it's going to take a lot more work. But vinegar is an acid, and vinegar will just, for example, I use vinegar like I wear retainers.
Yeah.
Um, and in other countries, I guess most everyone here is from the U.S. Umberto's Puerto Rico, but he's so well versed and
Uh,
experienced, he probably knows. So retainers, I wear plastic retainers in my teeth, and you get the buildup of just like you do on your teeth, tartar.
yeah.
So plaque is the soft stuff that you brush away every night, but tartar is the hard crustaceans that you get, which is the minerals that accumulate in your mouth, and that has to be scraped off your teeth. So you're never going to want to like soak your mouth with straight vinegar for any length of time, at least not the amount of time it takes vinegar to dissolve. But what I do is I soak my retainers in vinegar like once a month, and it cleans them perfectly. But it takes a lot of soaking. And so but vinegar will work. It's a very good cleaner.
Oh, good to know.
So there's my alternative.
I can answer this question. If you can't answer it, I can answer it. But go on.
I'm actually surprised Umberto's asking that. It's been registered in the Marine maps as Gulf of Mexico since more than half of U.S. was Mexico. Wait, put that back up. I want to read that again. In marine maps as Gulf of Mexico since more than half of U.S. was Mexico. Actually, that's incorrect, Umberto. Now, I'm reporting from one source of information, but officially the coastline, America has just slightly more of the coastline than Mexico does. Therefore, that's why Trump, and I know why he's doing it,
Well, I
because
know
the
why
woke
too.
left. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Sean.
Well, there's multiple reasons why he's doing it, but one of the reasons he's also doing it is for the cartels. So I know he's planning to go to war against them, and there's a whole thing about that, which I'll let you talk what you're gonna say.
Yeah, and speaking of the cartels, in fact, he's declared them as terrorists, which is cool.
Yeah.
And the reason they have to do that is because once that label has been designated, then different laws go into place. But as far as the Gulf of America, it has to do with a few things. One, the trade imbalance between Mexico and us and how much assistance we give to Mexico. And so at a level, it's kind of insulting that we call it the Gulf of, like, honestly, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Not on this topic specifically. It's like, call it whatever you want. But I can understand, I believe, why he's doing it. The trade imbalance is jacked up between the US and pretty much every other country we do trade with, including Mexico. We also subsidize Mexico in a whole lot of ways. We also get their influx of their massive immigration problem. And officially, if we have more of the coastline that's US territory versus Mexico, kind of makes sense that it should actually be called Gulf of America. So those are my talking points on that.
All right.
I really don't care on this one, and then I also feel as maybe a underlying current is that the left got so absurd and ridiculous by renaming, and this is why he renamed that mountain in Alaska.
Yeah.
Because they renamed it as part of a tribal thing, and I'm not going to remember the names. I think it's McKinley or whatever.
Yeah. It's actually if you go to, I'll put it right here, but if you go to the White House website, which I already looked it up, he talks about that. He talks about the McKinley, and here's this Willie McKinley, the 25th
what
president.
What was it called? What did they change it to?
Is it remaining Mount McKinley? It doesn't. Let me see here. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but anybody can go to the White House. They explain everything to you.
That headline right there, restoring. If you scroll back up, I mean that kind of captures it right in that. No, further down. I mean scroll, so you're up at the top of the page, the header. Okay. Keep going. Yeah, right there. Restoring names that honor American greatness. It kind of wraps up right in that.
Yeah.
Restoring the names. It's like, well, why do we have to restore the names? Well, because the woke left went crazy and started hijacking. They're tearing down statues. They're renaming buildings, renaming states,
schools,
forcing
airports,
sports teams to remove like the Redskins. Oh, we can't have a we can't have a Native American Indian and call it a Redskin. That's politically incorrect. I mean, it's just absolute lunacy. The parasitic mind is what happened. All right, Top Star Auto Detailing. I had a customer that drove through white paint today. Oh dear, it was all in the tire treads and stuck to the carpeted wheel wells. It was a nightmare to get off. Any suggestions for future reference? Dude, I've dealt with that. So yes, I do. I'll tell you what I did. On the tires, that is tough. And what I did is I used a pressure washer. And this is a conversation you have to have with the customer, because really, if you structure in a way that makes sense to them, you can make really good money on this stuff. Most customers are not going to put it through insurance, but they could if they wanted to. The problem is most customers are going to be paying a deductible, and they're going to probably have $1,000 deductible chances are you're not going to be charging them $1,000 that they're going to run through insurance. So they're going to be paying it out of pocket. So that becomes a non-issue. So then it's all about their out-of-pocket expense. And that's where it's like, hey, I could do a lot, but it depends. It's this cost benefit analysis. Do you want me to literally detail out your tire that's going to be wear and tearing and you're going to have to replace anyways? So the simple answer is you could maybe, based on the car and how expensive their tire is and how bad the paint was, they could just replace the tire and it's done on that. As far as the wheel well, once again, I start with a pressure washer and I'm going to take off as much as I can. The problem is if it has, what did you say? Yeah, carpeted wheel wells. That's a problem because a pressure washer, if you hold it too close, it's gonna annihilate that carpet. It's gonna make a mess of it in
what
not
about
in a good way.
What about steam cleaning it? Like using an actual steamer?
No,
No?
I mean, personally, I don't think you'd have any different results
Okay.
because you're relying on steam. And plus, it's also very hard to get up in there. So once again, based on the customer's expectations, of course, they want it to look perfect, but most customers will accept that it's probably not going to look perfect. And so then it becomes this cost benefit analysis. Like, okay, I could take a jack up the car so the wheel drops down out of the wheel well, and now you have more room to work. Plus, you can spin the tire and the wheel, and you can get at things better. But my rule is I'm always going to start with a pressure washer based on the material, whether it's paint, carpet, or just a metal wheel well. You've got the rubber tire. You've got the wheel itself. I'm going to do as much as I can. There you go, with a pressure washer. Past that, now it's going to be splatter on everything: the paint, inside the wheel well, the tire, the wheel, and now it's going to be case by case. So I will see if acetone will break down the paint. It probably will, because if it's in the street, chances are, and if it's thick like that, it's not road paint. So for example, the paint that they use to stripe streets with here in California, it's only 3 colors. Most of it is only 2 colors, white and yellow. But now with this whole green push, they started painting green on the streets for dedicated bike lanes. Point is that paint is industrial strength and it is really hard to deal with. And acetone probably won't break that down. But what generally happens is you got a paint contractor or a contractor of some kind that has some paint cans in the back of their truck, and it knocks, they hit a bump or something, it knocks out and it crashes into the street and makes a big fat mess. And you happen to be the person that gets to drive through some fresh spilled paint in the street, which means that it's probably going to be latex paint, which means that chemicals will break it down. So that's the good news. So I typically default to acetone, and it's going to be a case by case. So on the paint, I'm going to use the acetone. On the wheels, acetone. Even the tires, like let's say you want to just, like let's say the customer says like, oh, don't worry about the tread. I don't want to buy a brand new tire, but maybe you can get it off the sidewall. Well, I'm going to use acetone. Then let's say the pressure washer doesn't do much on the carpet. And honestly, trying to use acetone to remove paint on carpeting, that's probably not, I mean, it'll work, but it's just going to soak up so much of the acetone. So what I did is I would just paint it. I would get a can. So for example, when I had to deal with this, it was really right at the tipping point where they're just starting to introduce carpeted wheel wells. So most of the times I had to deal with it, it was plastic on the inside of the wheel well. So what I did is I cleaned up everything I could. And then my last step was I took literally a rattle can of black paint. I taped off the fender. I jacked it up and I painted on the inside of the wheel wells. And I just painted right over any of the white paint or whatever color paint it was that you couldn't get off. And it was just, it looked just, I think I have pictures somewhere on my website. I mean, it really came out looking just wonderfully. So there's my little trick for that. And 2,000 words or less. Vinegar is very acid and damages teeth, but can't be for a long time on teeth. I suspect, and I'm not using it on my teeth, I'm using it on my plastic retainers.
Yeah.
Actually, I use it on my old school retainers, which are like metal and this plastic thing. That's what I got from the orthodontist. But these plastic ones I have are more like, I don't know, they're still called retainers, but yeah, I'm not using it on my teeth. I'm using it on those things. And by the way, it's kind of like the wheel brightener. People get all freaked out because it's acid. Guess what kind of container it comes in? Plastic. Okay. And then once again, this is where if you understand chemistry, you realize first off, not all acid is created equal. Not all plastics are created equal. And so, for example, when you go to Costco, there's a reason they sell paint thinner and lacquer thinner and acetone in metal containers still. The only reason they're using metal is because they have to, because I promise you plastic containers would be cheaper, but they can't put it in plastic because of the chemistry. So vinegar comes in plastic containers as well as glass, but also plastic. And wheel brightener came in plastic container and it was full strength. It's not even been diluted down yet. So that tells me that this acid is not going to react to a lot of things that people would freak out about, which is why I just did the math. It's like I connected dots. It's like, wait a minute. If clear coat in a very rudimentary, fundamental way is a type of plastic and wheel brightener is packaged in plastic, I wonder if it would be safe to remove water spots. So that was my logic in thinking and trying it, because no one told me like, hey, Darren, you should just use that wheel brightener. I had to just, it was just one of those things where it's like, there's got to be a better way to deal with water spots. And so I just experimented with it, tested it, and found out, wow, this seems to be pretty damn safe. And then I just started expanding my repertoire as far as what I used it on, from metal grills to plastic grills to plastic trim parts, because water spots can attack anything and everything. But I did my research and I found out you don't want to use it on glass. In fact, I think the label on it says do not use it on glass. So anyhow, I hope that helps whoever asked that question about the paint
that
in the
was
street.
that was Jeff from Top Star Auto Detailing. But anyways, so we got Umberto here next.
I am not correct. I am not incorrect. I am correctly incorrect because of jurisdiction of Gitmo. Okay. Yeah, that's a big convoluted topic, and I'm no expert on that. So I'm really the wrong person to be weighing in on that aspect. What about these either alkaline or acidic car soaps? Car Pro Reset is supposed to be good. I think it's neutral. I mean, once again, there is absolutely something to chemistry, no doubt about it. The problem is manufacturers, they prey on your ignorance. So when they say it's a neutral, it's like, okay, what does that mean? So when we are throwing around like the pH scale, people say, oh, it's a pH of 7 or it's a pH of 13. Most people don't even know what that means. But we're used to numbers, especially numbers 1 through 10 or 1 through 20. So when someone says like, oh, it's neutral, in my head at least, I'm going to think, oh, it's a 0. So 0 is probably neutral because, for example, like in math, you've got positive numbers and negative numbers. 0 is right in the middle, but that's not how the pH scale works. So neutral is about 7. So for example, like your blood, I believe, registers at 7. Salt water, I believe, at 7. It's really kind of counterintuitive. And then they'll say, oh, they'll use terms like, oh, it's pH balance. Like, oh, this wheel cleaner is pH balance, safe for the wheels. It's like, okay, balance according to what? See, balance is a relative term. It's kind of like big and small. Okay, something can only be small when you compare it to something bigger, right, Sean?
Right.
So if I had 3 balls, 3 rubber bouncy play balls, okay? And I put them on the desk and they're all different sizes. And we've got small, medium, and large, okay? So you can only have small, medium, and large because the medium one is slightly bigger than the smaller one. And the large one is slightly bigger than the medium one. But let's say you introduced a bigger ball to the equation, Now the largest ball is suddenly not large anymore. It's now, and you remove the other ones, now you have the two balls, and the ball that was large before is now suddenly the small ball. You're like, wait, how could it be both small ball and large ball? Well, because it's relative to what you're measuring it against. So the point is when they talk about the pH scale and its balance, it's like balance according to what? Like, and by the way, what's the correct balance of a wheel? Like, what is the pH of a wheel? You're asking what the pH of metal base with a clear coat on it. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. So they prey on your ignorance and they throw out all this jargon that sounds cool and sophisticated and it sounds important, like you need to know it, but they don't explain what it is. They just do it to sell products. Like, oh, well, this product says it's pH neutral or it's pH balanced and this product doesn't. Therefore, I don't know what they're talking about, but I'm going to default to the safe way, and I'm going to buy the product that says pH balance, even though I have no idea what it's balanced according to. There we go. So number 7, distilled water. Yeah, you need to pull up a pH scale. Like if you did do you have AI in your computer, Sean?
Yeah.
You could type in and ask what is pH neutral and what are some common things that fall on the pH scale of 7? The pH range or scale of 7. Yes. It's thinking. Yes, see, exactly. pH 7 is considered neutral because it represents a perfect balance between acidity and alkalinity. In simple terms, a neutral solution has an equal concentration of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions. So pure water, some buffered cleaning solutions, natural fluids. Wow, that was very unspecific. I was looking for more specific things. Like ask it what is salt water or seawater. Ask it what the pH level of seawater is, because that's kind of counterintuitive. All right, the user wants pH mean, examples, pure water, biological fluids, close to neutral. So, okay, there's tears and saliva. That's specific. Note on blood. While human blood is slightly alkaline, typically around 7.3, it's often cited in discussions about pH because its regulation is so critical to health. Yeah, so it's a 7 point something, but it's still on the 7. So type in what is seawater? What's the pH of? Put what is the pH of the Pacific Ocean water? Do that. Wait for it. Oh, 8.1. Okay, I'm surprised. This means the water is slightly alkaline. Ask it if the pH scale is algorithmic or linear. Just put it MIC. Yeah, yeah, that's close enough. Or linear. LIN.
LIN.
Yeah. EAR. Oh, logarithmic. That's the word I was looking for. My bad.
Sorry.
Uses a logarithmic formula. That's like earthquakes, how they rate earthquakes, which means it's just because you go up in one notch, like from a 7 to 8, doesn't mean it's just like 1/10 stronger.
We also have a shitload of comments to go through, by the way.
All right. We can move on.
Yeah.
Nightbot, also more permits to drill 80 mils offshore instead of 40. Yeah, there you go. Politics still. Cartels are direct competition for a dirty gun. Make no mistake. Dude, I'm right there with you, man.
Yep.
Mark,
agreed.
Absolutely. I personally would say Gulf of Nightbot.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yep, the View Media channel is just about to go up in flames. Seriously, and I want to be, there with my own uh, gas to pour on that fire when it does. I soaked the tires in Strong S Green Star, which I don't know what that is, and Dark Fury, which I don't know what it is, and was able to pressure wash out all the paint on the tires, use almost 100 gallons of water. I couldn't get it off the carpeted wheel wells. Dude, that's some work. So more power to you. And maybe you could try that. Use black paint. And they actually have special paint that's kind of rubberized material for wheel wells. I'm not sure if I'd necessarily use that because I've actually undercoated people's cars for them with that rubberized material. And man, it makes things look so tight and clean and black. But just do some black paint.
Here's Green Star.
Oh, Cot Chemi. Highly concentrated universal cleaner, NTA, which who knows what the hell NTA means. Clean audio exterior engines, $56. Is that a gallon size? Oh, 5 liters.
On.
Is that is your I wonder if Sean's fire alarm is going on because he's vaping. That would be a hypersensitive fire alarm if it is. Let's see. So I couldn't get off the carpeted wheel wells. Yeah, once again, top star. I would default to literally a rattle can of black paint, and just be very mindful of the overspray. Having worked with so many guys and trained so many guys, when it comes to overspray, guys, even myself included, and when I say overspray, I mean overspray of anything. So for example, well, let's just start with this example. So you might be working outdoors, which you probably are, and let's say there's almost no wind, and you think, oh, no big deal, and I'll be very precise as I'm painting. I promise you there's still going to be some overspray that happens, and it's going to collect on the car. So just be mindful of that. But then when you're dealing with overspray using other chemicals, this is why I have very specific stages that I do my detailing. One of the last stages I do is doing dressing, because even if there's like zero wind, once you vaporize that stuff, it just starts floating, and you can't really control that necessarily. Anyhow, so Sean's still dicking around with his. That's funny. I know he did not see that coming. So let's see. And I can't see, I don't know. I might be able to see some more of you guys' chat. Let's see. Oh, I can. Let me see back here. Like alkaline stuff, they say is neutral, so they make them apparently. I'm glad the last 20 dedicated car, Paul. Okay.
I'm back. It's have to open a window.
Is that from your vaping?
Yeah. I forgot.
Dude, that's a hypersensitive device.
Where I'm not supposed to be vaping here, but I don't care.
Oh, okay. So, well, that's nice.
Yeah. I just opened the window.
That's considerate of you.
Yeah.
I wonder why they don't allow vaping. Is that really going to cause? I mean, the smell's not going to linger like a cigarette.
No, but it hovers. So whatever. Yeah. Whatever.
Carpeted wheel wells. Nah, that will need replacement, and then new one coat them with something so things don't stick or are easily removed. Yeah, I use dressing in wheel wells as what I call a sacrificial barrier. It allows me to clean them up better each time, because dirt and grime is largely sticking to the dressing versus your wheel well itself. I told them to just spray paint the wheel wells black again. There you go. Oh, better to paint carpeted wheel wells with paint trim. You know, they actually have paint dedicated or made specifically for interiors, like carpeting. So you could default to a paint like that. I just don't know how available that stuff would be at a local auto parts store. And then also when it comes to buying on Amazon, they probably have it, unless you're in Puerto Rico and they have to send it by airplane, and then they're not going to send it to you because they're not going to slow boat it to you. Exactly what happened when the paint contractor fell out of a truck right in front of the guy. Didn't have acetone with me. Yeah. That's pretty common. Yes, repaint carpeted wheel wells. All right, so I'm not the only one. Is Top Star detailing the buff dude in Vegas?
Yes,
Uh,
there's two of you.
who's two of you?
You and him are both buff.
Oh, you're calling me buff. Oh,
Yes.
well, thanks. I'm suddenly brain fading. Like, what is his name?
Jeff.
Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. What's your favorite go-to polish compound and wax? Well, it still is ceramics. I mean, that's my default polish. Who knows if Tom will remain in business and keep producing it, because he's on this big push now to push his ceramic XX, which I cannot say I have complete confidence in, because I have inside intel. It works, but like the whole description about things being relative, it's like, okay, works according to what? It definitely works, but ceramics, that's my go-to. And in simple terms, it's both a polish and compound, even though it's not. It's a single product polish, which means it will do heavy defect removal, but finish down to a deliverable result, which is why it's called a polish. As far as wax goes, honestly, that's going to be dependent on you and your customer. And I don't know if you're referring to your cars. I think there's so many good products on the market now. It's more about your preference, as in, do you want a spray wax? Do you want something super easy that you're willing to use frequently because it's so easy to use, so you're less concerned with how durable it is, because you're going to be like, honestly, I use a spray wax on my cars every week. Why? Because they just look so good and it's so easy to use. And someone would say, like, dude, you don't need to wax your car that much. It's like, well, first off, I know that. Secondly, I'm doing it because it just looks so great. Thirdly, because it's so easy to do. Fourthly, because, and that's why I'm not worried about the durability of it. I accept that in a spray wax, the durability is going to not be the same as like a dedicated liquid, never mind a true ceramic coating product. Yes, Nightbot, we are. I was going to say something about that because like 2 minutes ago, we have to expedite through the comments. All right, do we have many piled up, Sean?
We have a couple more.
All right, remember 0 to 60 is acidic, 7 to 8 to 14 is alkaline. Yes, thank you, Umberto. I'm glad the last 20 minutes was dedicated to car polish. We are glad that you're glad. Some acidic stuff, like on alkaline stuff, they say is neutral, so they make them apparently safe for some materials. Whenever there's acid, just neutralize with alkaline. Don't use acidic stuff on engine. There you go. I don't think I've ever used acidic stuff on an engine. In fact, although, how about the battery terminals? When the battery terminals get crusty, if you pour soda, which is acidic, as in the kind of soda you drink, or you can drink or use baking soda. See, I'm wondering where baking soda would reside on the pH scale, because that neutralizes acid. So that would suggest baking soda would be an alkaline. But then I'm wondering why maybe the carbonated water neutralizes, because I know sodas are acidic. Gets convoluted, but pretty much my cleaners on engines are all going to be alkaline based cleaners. You can ignore my comments. I'm just here to spread misinformation. Well, someone's got to do it. Glad it could be you, Nightbot.
He works for the media.
Yeah. That's the alarm system saying, let's take a pee break. Yeah. Actually, I need to take more than a pee break. I gotta feed my system. I'm due to break my fast. What's that?
Almost over.
That's alarm. Okay, next. USA and airbrush to paint over it. Oh, probably use an airbrush to paint. Probably auto corrected.
Yeah, probably.
There we go. Yeah, use a paintbrush. Bro, hotboxing his room.
Yeah.
That's a term I'm not familiar with.
It means is it a term?
I'm sure I know what it means, but I've never heard it before. Yeah, they can spray paint their own wheel wells. I don't carry paint and don't need the liability. Appreciate the advice from everyone. Cheers. Yeah. Good luck, buddy. Hello, guys. Oh, Brian. Now that we're tapping out, Brian, now you come in. Well, glad you made it for the last 30 seconds or whatever. Okay, Jeff the Buff Dude curling water buckets. Yeah, he's curling the 5-gallon water buckets. Umberto says hi, Brian. And I'm sure Brian's going to say hi back to you, Umberto. Oh, yeah, I'm glad he crossed his toe chain. His toe, yeah. Cheers, bro. Cheers, everyone. Jeff is the buff guy who uses the beanie. Yeah, and Sean's wearing the sorry, man, my brain is
I'm wearing a beanie. I'm wearing a beanie because it's
working.
freezing.
Yeah.
All right.
Nightbot, thanks for the tip on crossing the trailer chains. Appreciate you. 5-gallon butt curls for the workout on the go. That's right, baby.
Look who got here late.
What's up, fellows? Oh, check you out. It's Doug, right?
Yeah, Doug.
Hey, Doug. Hope things are well in your part of the world, in your corner of the universe. Yes, I watch you, bro. OFC, I got to be critical about pretty petty stuff to be more interactive. OFC, I'm not familiar with that acronym right now. I feel like my brain is fading. My apologies, you guys. Past my bedtime anyways. Yeah, go to bed, Mark, and good luck with that hip. That is, man, I still can't get over that. All right, man. So we ready to peace out, Sean?
Yeah. All
right, party people.
Wait.
What? Rizzo, where do you live? We'll see if Mark probably already bounced off. Yep, Darren needs to be fed for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The rest of the comments are just like people saying hi to each other. So just, we can. Oh wait. There's one more. Someone new.
Ooh. How does the industry feel about you? Because you keep things simple and straightforward. And is there anyone YouTube worth listening to besides yourself? Gee, can I really be objective and unbiased about that question? There actually is a lot of guys worthy of listening to. Off the top of my head, I don't know who it would be. I know they exist, but I find so much BS woven into a lot of stuff they say that it is frustrating for me. So I don't have a really simple answer for that. Well, I guarantee they exist.
I can tell right now, if you guys, I can't even talk either. I'm also hungry. Well, I haven't eaten all day. I only eat once a day now. But really? Walter, what I would say is, first of all, I don't think I've seen you on here before. So welcome to the end of the live stream. And also, you should check out Top Star Auto Detailing. He's also a new YouTuber. And obviously he doesn't know everything.
That's Jeff in Vegas, right?
Yeah, but you should check out his video. He's got a lot of good content.
Yes.
And as far as like the big ones, the big YouTubers, I'm not gonna make a comment on that. I'm gonna leave that up to Darren.
Yeah, most of the really big YouTubers, I have a real problem with them because they just put so much garbage in there, and they definitely have an agenda. Yeah. It doesn't really align with yours exactly. So I definitely have a problem with them.
Yeah.
So
vast majority of them are they're just putting content just to put content. It's like, but anyways.
Yeah, as far as how the industry feels about me, I would say I'm pretty much a love-hate relationship. You know, you either love what I do because I keep it simple and I'm not going to throw around BS. Some people love it. Some people really hate it. So I don't know, whatever.
All right,
certainly not.
We'll be on next Saturday.
So next Saturday, same bat channel, same bat time, and you guys can tune in with your probing questions, and we will do our best to answer your probing questions. And the better your questions are, the better we can try to help you get the results you want in your life. So peace out. Good luck with the rest of your guys' week. You as well, Sean, and thanks for your help.
Yep. I'll see you next Saturday. All right. Good night.